and we're in coronavirus times, and it's very sad to see what people are experiencing right now. But I see a lot of people before this period that we're in, this pandemic. Prior to this pandemic, a lot of people were sitting back waiting for clients to come to them instead of taking an aggressive and an offensive approach. And now they're sitting and crying and whining why their business is down or struggling. And so that was a big lesson that I took as an 11-year-old. And so I believe that business is an aggressive and an offensive sport.
Everybody, Mr. Arnon Barnes. Arnon, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me, Marcus. I'm excited to have the opportunity to be here, talk with you, and perhaps even share some golden nuggets with your listeners.
Oh, they're going to love your golden nuggets. Absolutely. And, it says here that you went from millionaire, to from a very early age, 28.
Correct.
Are you older than 28 now, or are you 28? I'm just checking.
Yes, I'm over 28. I'm actually
over 28. That's all we want to know. That's all we want to know. Okay. Now, I want to start with something that I read about you. Okay. You said that you started your business at the age of 11 years old, and by 28, a millionaire. I have to ask you, Arnon, did you really start your own business at 11 years old, or is that just, like a story?
Yeah, well, actually, it's a great story and a true one. So do you want the short version of the 11-year-old business?
I would like the one that gives the most nuggets to my listeners.
Okay, so, well, just to maybe to put some context around me starting my first business when I was 11 years old. I had an uncle at this time when I was 11. I was living in South Africa. I grew up in Johannesburg. And I had an uncle who decided at the time, this is in the early 1990s, he decided to open up a shop, a toy store. And my father would always take me to this toy store once every 4, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, to visit my uncle. He would talk with my uncle, and I would be like a kid. Christmas, walking into a toy store was always a great time. And my father would allow me to choose any toy, and then he'd work it out with my uncle. But every time I'd go and visit this toy store, I noticed that my uncle looked depressed, looked sad, looked desperate. And I didn't realize why does he look like that? I mean, every time I'd walk into the toy store, it was like Christmas, right? I was happy, I was excited. It was like, wow, this is the best place in the world to be. And after 1, 2, 3 visits, I realized that he looked desperate, and he had those kind of emotions because he was sitting and waiting for the clients to come to him. And as a young age, growing up with an entrepreneurial father and seeing how my dad was doing business, I thought to myself, naively, that's stupid. Why would you wait for clients to come to you? Let's take the product to the clients. And so I started my first business. I started buying not one toy. I started buying a box of toys when I would visit. And I started a little retail business. And I took these box of toys to school, and I started selling them. And I unofficially became the richest 11-year-old at school very fast, until the government, also known as the teachers union of the school, decided that it was time to stop. But I got a good few weeks, maybe even a few months doing this trading business. And it was really exciting. And if you want, what was one of my biggest takes, and I see that today, especially people who are getting hurt during this pandemic, and, we're in coronavirus times, and it's very sad to see what people are experiencing right now. But I see a lot of people before this period that we're in, this pandemic. Prior to this pandemic, a lot of people were sitting back waiting for clients to come to them instead of taking an aggressive and an offensive approach. And now they're sitting and crying and whining why their business is down or struggling. And so that was a big lesson that I took as an 11-year-old. And so I believe that business is an aggressive and an offensive sport.
Okay. So some people don't like that word aggressive, but it's definitely offensive, right? So in the sense, like in a game, And I think that's an analogy that you give as well in football, because you're a big football fan. It doesn't matter who you support. It really is not relevant. But it's Arsenal, right? No. But because you give that analogy, don't you? What's your analogy about offensive and defensive?
Yeah. And so when I look at companies, when I coach companies, when I work with businesses, when I build businesses, I look at a business like a football field. And what I do is I take the team or the organization, and I literally put them on a flip chart, and I say, okay, well, let's build a flip chart here. Let's put the picture of a football field on this flip chart. And then I start going through all the employees, start going through all the team members, and I start positioning them on the field. And very quickly you can see if the company, if the organization is more defensive, or if it's more offensive. And it's important to have both. We've got to have our defensive players like our assistants, our secretaries, customer care, kind of a midfield position, because they have an opportunity to upsell, downsell, cross-sell. But very quickly I can analyze a business and I can see where we're struggling. And a lot of businesses end up being very defensive because the owner's mindset, the leader of the organization, is in a not to lose mindset. They play on defense.
Okay. What kind of mindset are they supposed to have?
Yeah. So business, like I said, it's an offensive sport. Okay. So you've got to be out there. You've got to be making a noise. You've got to be offensive. You've got to be attacking. You've got to be marketing. You've got to be sales, which are offensive activities.
Right. So rather than it being winning not to lose,
play to win.
Right.
And there is another level to that, not only playing to win, but to play to win on your own terms and conditions.
Oh, so there are different levels?
Correct.
Okay, so what are the different levels?
There's five.
This is quite interesting, because it'd be really interesting to see the people listening here. And by the way, is this, I mean, I'm assuming this isn't just business. This could also be whether you're in employment or working for somebody else or whatever. So what are the five levels? Let's see what people.
Yeah, and also it can be also people who are looking for relationships, looking for love.
Oh.
So this expands outside of not only the business sector, the business world.
So that's an offensive game as well. Okay. All right. What are the five levels?
So the 5 levels, right? The first level is pretending. People pretend. Okay, so they pretend that they're building a business. Oh yeah, I'm starting, I'm going, I'm coming.
They talk about it. Yeah.
Exactly. These are pretenders, right? And it's very easy to recognize a pretender, because a pretender is normally always extremely busy. And they are so busy being busy, they're too busy, they can't make money. Okay, so those are our pretenders. That's the first one. The second one are the people that refuse. They simply refuse to play the business game.
Oh.
These are people that are comfortable with their life. They are happy with where they're at, and they are employees, and they just enjoy their job. Most employees actually don't enjoy their job, but there are people that refuse to play the business game. Maybe because they never had that entrepreneurial idea about themselves as being an entrepreneur. Maybe they grew up in a household where mom or dad was an entrepreneur and maybe got extremely hurt, lost their business, went bankrupt. So they've got some scars from the past that stops them from, being in business or deciding to start a business.
So they've stopped themselves before they've even started.
Exactly. And that's what I say to people. A lot of people come to me for help. A lot of people say, oh, I want to grow. I want to do this. I say, first thing you need to understand is you need to participate in your own rescue. Because a lot of people don't participate in their own rescue.
Rescue me. Somebody do it for me.
Exactly. And so the first one, like I said, is pretending. Second one is people refuse.
Refusing.
The third one is people play not to lose.
Ah. Okay.
So they play on defense. Okay, I don't want to market my product. I don't want to sell my product or serve people with my product or educate people about my product.
Ooh, I see what you did there. That was like a nice reframe there. So for the people that don't like to sell, you could maybe help people or educate people or.
Exactly, and we've had conversations about this in the past. A lot of people get caught up or stuck, or they freeze when they have to sell a product, sell a service, even if they completely believe in what they have to offer. That word selling kind of, it stalls them and they get stuck. And so the idea is to reframe that word. change the neuro association that you have around the word selling, turn it into serving,
or helping,
caring,
adding value.
adding value. Exactly. It's just
Nice.
a small tweak to
Nice.
change the
That
game.
makes all the difference, right? Changes the game. So we keep the analogy. Okay. And so that was the playing not to lose.
Yes, playing on defense.
Okay. And then what's the next level, number 4?
The next one is people who play the business game, the game of life. They play it to win.
All right.
And these are the people that they want to win. And sometimes they want to win at all costs.
Okay.
And sometimes, and I've been in the space myself, where I've gone into a relationship, a business relationship, done a deal, but I wasn't happy about the deal, or I wasn't sure about the person. But in some way, in some shape, in some form, there was a promise of a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. And so I was willing to lose sleep at night. Is this person the right person to do business with? Do I really believe in this product?
But hold on. But
will I really get paid?
Right. But that's really interesting because you're saying playing the game to win, which, and I know there's a 5th one coming up, but it seems to me that the playing it to win almost means doing anything to win. Yeah. But you're saying it's not. There's a 5th level.
Exactly. There is a 5th level. Now, many years ago, I came from a place I was completely broke. In short, I grew up without a father. I left school to help my mom, put food on the table, put clothes on my younger sister, baby brother. And so for me, at that time, at that young age, I was just focused on winning, putting bread on the table. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, I caught myself doing deals or interacting entrepreneurially with people that necessarily weren't good for my spirit. But I would do it with them because there would be a benefit or a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.
Right.
And so that brings me to our fifth way of playing the business game. And that is to win on your own terms and conditions.
Wow. What a distinction.
Yes. And this is where I really get excited about, because a lot of people, when they build a business, they get excited about a product or service, and so they get started with the business, and then they end up creating a golden cage for themselves. Maybe the business earns well, the business does well, maybe the business is profitable, maybe the business has a lot of benefits, but they've actually created a golden cage for themselves. And so today, when I look at businesses, when I get involved in businesses, I first look at what is the lifestyle I want to have, and then let's reverse engineer the process and build a business that's going to get me to that lifestyle.
I think that's true. I think most people, they start a business to escape or to prove or many other reasons, but not necessarily to build the lifestyle that they want. So that's a key distinction. I'm just wondering whether you can just quickly, and I want everybody just to write this down. So all the different stages, and really think about stage 4 and stage 5, because maybe people believe that they are at the top stage, which is playing to win, but there is another stage, right? So what were they again? The first one was?
Pretend. Yeah.
I know a lot of people like that. Okay. Yeah. And listen, everybody watching and listening to this, which one are you? Be honest with yourself. Okay. Number 2.
Yeah. Number 2 is you refusing.
Okay.
I completely refuse to start a business.
Okay. For whatever reason. Yeah.
The third one is to play on defense, not to lose.
So you're doing it, you're going through the motions, but you're not really pushing. Don't want to upset too many people. Don't want to do too much marketing. Don't want to be too shine my light too much. Wow. Not really fulfilling their potential. And number 4?
Number 4 is playing to win.
Which I thought was the top one.
Yes, most people do.
Right.
And then the last one is to win on your own terms and conditions.
Brilliant. Fantastic. And of course, that means knowing what your own terms and conditions are, which most people don't either. But it's never too late to start. And now they can do that, knowing that there's this other level. What would you say if somebody was in a business right now, they thought that they were doing really well, they played to win, they have now got this golden kind of cage around them. Can they still go to number 5?
Absolutely. And this is where making distinctions like who are the people you actually want to work with, who are the team members you really want to be with you in the game, and to continue your growth or aim for your exit. So they're all different questions you need to ask yourself. And it's all about the question you ask yourself. You know, one of our teachers, you know, Tony Robbins, he says, you know, the quality of the answer is determined by the quality of the question.
Yes.
Most people ask shitty questions, and as a result, they create shitty results.
Yes.
So by just asking yourself those questions, a better question, who is my perfect client? Do I want to actually deal with this kind of client or this kind of, you know, group of people,
Yes.
or this promoter or whatever it is? Then you just get to your truth.
Sounds simple, but I'm assuming it's not going to be easy, because you might have to lose some clients, lose some team members,
Sure.
maybe even partners, etc., because they might not really be what you really wanted, but you just didn't ask yourself that question.
True, 100%. It's
Yeah.
uncomfortable.
The distinction that I think that I'm making, just to be honest, is I think I'm not at level 5. The translation to that, by the way, is I think I'm at level 4, but I didn't want to say that. So, wow, okay, that was really good. But of course, it's only good if one takes action on it now.
Absolutely. And what we find when I work with, you know, organizations and companies, you know, business leaders, business owners from all over the world, is that they primarily play in 2 spaces. So they play partially to win, but they also find themselves playing on defense. So there's normally a dominant energy and a secondary energy.
Well, now that you say that, holy moly, holy shit, I was going to say, I might be at between 3 and 4. Forget about 4 and 5. Is it possible to move between sometimes? Is that possible? Come on.
Of course. It's always a transition between the energies. The key factor here is the awareness. Because then before you go into an agreement, you go into a deal, you're going to choose to work with business partners, you decide to work on a project, you can take a step back and say, okay, hold on, where are my values and how do I want to play this game? Am I going to play this game? Is this, are these the people I want to work with? Is this the kind of product service that I can get behind? You know, all these questions, and then you can say, okay, this is going to be my way of playing to win on my own terms and conditions. And sometimes winning actually means not playing.
Oh.
Yeah, sometimes people come to the table with a great product, a great service, a great idea, but it doesn't match your values, it doesn't match your schedule, it doesn't match, you know, whatever it is.
Objection, you know, yeah,
your goals, your
Yeah.
goals that you want to go after, that you're aiming for in life. And so for you to win on your own terms is actually to say no. There's a lot of power behind no.
Yes, because they might change even the offer. I mean, there's a famous example of Richard Branson being asked to do a 1-hour talk for $250,000, which most people would probably do. The answer was no. And then they said, well, we'll double it, 500,000. The answer was still no. And then they said, name your price. And then the answer was from his office, so Richard has got 3 strategic objectives right now. And talking at somebody else's conference is not one of them. But they could have asked for a lot of money. Anyway, so I want to go to the second question, which is, look, you started in South Africa. Okay, South Africa. You moved to Israel, you ended up in the Netherlands, you do a lot of business in London and all around the world. Now, people tend to make excuses about their location, you know, being an obstacle to their success. So what are your views on that? Because clearly it wasn't for you.
So for me, I've built some of my businesses pre-coronavirus, prior to this pandemic or the experience that a lot of people, the whole world is actually going through. I built it using the technology we have today: Zoom, Skype, WhatsApp, basically the tools that we've been blessed with. And so I've never given myself an excuse to say location is going to stop me. The reality is I jump on a plane, I come in for meetings. Sometimes I even jump on a plane, come in for a meeting, and I leave 2-3 hours after the meeting. It's happened several times. And so I think the statement, where there's a will, there is a way, is so underestimated and undervalued. It's always a question of how hungry are you? How hungry are you? Les Brown always says, you gotta be hungry. Yeah, you gotta be hungry. And that eye of the tiger, that hunger, I see is diminishing with a lot of people. You know, like I said, I didn't finish school, I didn't go to university, but I do have a PhD. pig-headed determination.
Okay.
And so I've never let location stop me. I've never let language stop me. I've also had some really interesting role models that I've been around. I've got a friend who has built a billion-dollar company, over billion-dollar company. He owns a lot of hotels.
Mm-hmm.
And the business was developed by his father. And his father started the business, and then he stepped in and he really exploded it. Phenomenal guy, great guy.
You know, I
And
was just about to say, because a lot of people, when you say that it was started by his father, people go, oh, well, then, you know, it's like Donald Trump. You know, he got given $1 million, but now he's a billionaire. So he did something with it, and people dismiss that. But so you're saying that he got given the money, or the business was started, but then he really exploded it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He took it to a completely different stratosphere. But what I saw from his father, and I've had the pleasure and privilege to be around this family quite a lot, and I know them personally, and they're friends of mine. But the father was doing business internationally in Germany, in the Netherlands, in other countries, Cyprus. Cyprus probably wouldn't be the right example here, but in doing business in countries where English not necessarily was the dominant language, but he didn't speak a word of English at all.
Okay.
So he would speak with his hands, with his toes. I remember sometimes he was in a conversation using his hands, and I'd walk by and he'd call me, come over here. And he would call me in Hebrew, you know, and he would talk to me, and he'd say to me, well, tell him what I said. And that's how he got by. But he built with obviously the help of his son. He ended up building a company worth well over $1 billion. And so
incredible. So so that was never an obstacle. Like, language isn't an obstacle. So people would say, well, I'm not going to that country. I'm not doing this. I don't speak the language. Obstacle. Maybe you could say, well, if other people aren't going to go there, I should go there.
And that's the great question. It's like the salesman, right? The salesman jumps out of bed, wakes up in the morning, right? Fresh. He opens the window and he sees it's raining. And he says, oh shit, I'm not going outside. It's raining. I'm going to get wet. I'm not going outside. His neighbor, also a salesman, does the same thing. Jumps out of bed, you know, looks outside the window, sees it's raining. And he says, oh, I'm sure all the other salesmen are going to stay in today. I've got to go out today.
Nice.
It's all about perspective. It's all about how you see the world.
All about perspective. All about. So for you then, your perspective was what? I mean, you were in South Africa, Israel, then, and I believe you were in the army. You served in the army, the defense force there as well, hardcore.
Yeah.
And then you went to the Netherlands, and you did business all over the place. So your perspective is just what? Go wherever the business is? What's your perspective?
My perspective at a young age was, I've got a mom who's struggling to feed her family, and we've got to eat. And
so your perspective is you have a big reason why. Totally.
It's abnormal, from my experience, for someone to achieve financial freedom and sell a business 7 figures by the age of 27, become completely financially free by the age of 28. That is not a normal scenario. And that is a testament to the amount of pain that I had. I had so much pain that I catapulted to act.
Wow.
And that's what I see today. A lot of people don't have that pain.
So what are people, but people, it sounds painful. You know, so people are like probably confused now, saying, so you want me to have pain? Like, who are you? Why?
Absolutely.
You want people to have pain?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because we know that people are motivated by 2 forces, pain and pleasure.
Okay.
Now, let me put this in perspective. People will run away from a burning building faster than they'll run towards their dreams.
Mm.
And so the way I like, of course. And so the way I like to think about it, when I start getting too comfortable, I start asking myself, where's the pain?
Okay, so you are actually seeking pain.
I seek pain, not to hurt myself, but I'm just thinking, okay, so if I don't do this, if I don't act, if I don't, build a relationship, what is it going to cost me? How's it going to hurt me? Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next week, maybe not next month, maybe in a year.
Okay.
And that gives me enough fire to act, to move.
Yes. So if people are in that, if they are not moving, like a lot of people, I think they want to go somewhere. They want to go somewhere, but then today they just don't do anything, and then tomorrow, and then they don't do anything, and they're kind of in their, people call it a comfort zone or whatever, but they can't seem to move. What are you saying? Do we need to get a cattle rod and jolt us? What do we need to do?
Yeah. And so I believe that I don't think people are stuck in their comfort zone. I think people are stuck in their fear zone.
Oh.
Yeah. Or maybe they're in the confused zone.
Uh-huh.
So
and you think pain is going to get them out?
Well, I'm not sure if it's going to be pain necessarily, but definitely something that's going to shock their system.
Okay.
So
what can they do?
When people come to me and they're normally stuck because they're emotionally stuck, mentally stuck, or spiritually stuck. And so I recommend some extreme ideas to shock their nervous system.
Okay.
One of them is I say to someone, go jump out of an airplane with a parachute, okay? And by the way, I would never recommend anyone do anything that I haven't done first. So I've jumped out of airplanes. I've done that a few times already.
With a parachute?
Yeah, because all people need is they need a shock. Okay. It's like when someone's flatlining and then, you got the clear, boom. Yeah, that's sometimes people just need that shock to wake up and say, wow, life can be so amazing. Look at this experience. I want this again. And so when you give someone a lick of the ice cream, they want more of it.
Right.
Yeah. And so that's kind of one of the philosophies that I like to use when I'm coaching, training, or just helping people, achieve more in their
I love that. But that's something that actually, they can go and do that. You don't have to tell them to do that. So people go and do that. Shock yourself out of it. It's funny because I've always said, and I had this conversation today with somebody, I wouldn't do that unless I was doing it with somebody else in tandem and we had 3 shoots between us, because the chances of all 3, one could go, another one could go, but all 3 going. So am I too much in my safety zone there? Should I just go with 1 or a half? Because then I'd be way out of my comfort zone.
What do you think the answer is to that question?
Good question. They say it's all about the question. So your thing is then just to shock them and then get them back to life, and that, right, come on, buddy, let's go.
Yeah.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
Because it boils down, one of the things that I see when I'm working with people, it boils down to trust.
Trust? Trust in what?
Self-trust.
Okay, so let's talk about that. So because my next question, this is brilliant, absolutely leads on to it, is self-belief.
Okay.
Or trust, whichever word you want to use. Okay, so self-belief. So do you think that's important to have?
It is probably one of the most important ingredients in the formula of success.
Because you seem to have a lot of self-belief. The way you turn up, I've seen you in meetings, I've seen you on stages, and you exude that. So you say yes, and also, how do people get more of that?
So it's all about building the muscle, right? And also knowing what your superpowers are. When a child goes to school and he comes back with his report card or her report card, the report card reads like this: A, B, C, F.
Okay.
Now, as a parent, you look at that report card, A, B, C, F. We've got to work on the F. Let's improve the F.
So true.
But the reality is, we're never gonna turn that F into a world-class best player in the world A. It's never gonna be that. That kid has no interest, no desire. It doesn't resonate, and it's just not resonating. So, let's focus on the A's and turn those A's into A pluses.
Okay. And that's to build self-confidence?
Exactly. And so I know, going back to the question, self-belief, I know where I'm very powerful at. I know that if you put me in a certain space, I will shine and probably outshine most people. But I also know spaces where I avoid. I know where I'm incredibly weak and absolutely useless.
Okay. Can you give us an example just to show people that you're human?
Totally. So one of the places that I'm incredibly weak in, you put me in a business, administration. You put me in a place of, sending out emails, replying to email. I hate that stuff. My superpowers are different. So when someone comes to me and says, let's start a business and I want you to lead the back end or the defensive activities, I'm telling you right now, it's 24 to 48 hours before we lose everything and go bankrupt. That is not my superpower. But put me in a place where I have to build relationships, put me in a place where I need to talk to people, put me in a place where I need to sell the vision, sell the product, sell the idea, and get people excited about it. I shine in that space.
So you're saying that if somebody, whether they realize it or not, let's go back to basics. So they're not as successful as they want to be, and they're wondering why. It could come down to self-belief, self-worth, trust in oneself. And you're saying that all you need to do is start building that muscle. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
How do you start building that muscle?
So one of the ways that I belief in myself, how I build more belief in myself, I have 2-3 primary ways, and I know them, I'm aware of them, I'm conscious of them, and I feed these ways.
Okay.
The first way,
okay.
Yeah, the first way, let's take a step back. Can a person build more belief in themselves?
Yes.
Yeah. Can a person build more confidence in themselves?
Yes.
Absolutely. So how do we do that? So one of the 2 or 3 ways that I do that helps me build up my certainty in myself, build up my belief is, number 1, I move my body.
Okay.
I kickbox. I do a lot of kickboxing. I do sport. I play football in a team. For years, I've always been on the sports field. Okay, not so much of an academic, but I find that kickboxing, training, working out gives me incredible strength.
Okay.
So by the time I leave that workout, 60-minute workout, whatever it is, I am dead, but I feel like I can go through a brick wall because I've strengthened some inner muscles. Mm-hmm. So working out is really powerful. And actually,
so it could be anything. If somebody likes going for walks, is that okay?
Absolutely. Whatever's going to, Tony Robbins always says, if you want to improve your psychology, you've got to improve your physiology.
Okay.
And so moving your body is so powerful. I love kickboxing. I get to release a lot of energy. I get strong. I'm proud of myself when I've done the workout. No matter how difficult and how challenging it is, I always leave with a buzzing feeling, like I'm switched on. And then the best thing after that workout is the shower. Because once you've taken a shower after an insane workout, you feel zen and powerful.
Okay.
So
that's still number 1, right? That's not number 1.
That's number 1. A workout, kickboxing, training, very powerful for me.
Number 2.
Number 2.
I'm writing this down, dude. Okay.
Good. So the second one for me is learning.
Okay.
Learning, studying, reading. Basically, it boils down to education. And one of the key things, I picked up also from you. You shared this with me.
Are you talking about a formal education, like going to school and stuff?
No. I'm not talking about formal education. I'm just talking about, you have a challenge, you have a problem. What book do I need to read? What course do I need to take? Who do I need to speak to? Who do I need to surround myself with? I'm not talking at all from an academia perspective, although that could be. I'm just talking about, how do I build my confidence? How do I build my self-belief? Okay. If I'm lacking self-belief in something, it's because there's something I don't know. So if I can fill that gap with knowledge or a program or a course or a coaching program, that's going to give me more self-belief, because now I can overcome that challenge, that obstacle that's actually standing in front of me.
So knowledge overcomes fear.
Knowledge overcomes fear, exactly.
And so what if you don't know what to read? I mean, I don't even know that I don't have self-confidence. I don't even know what to read.
Because when I'm coaching people and I'm working with people, I've got quite an impressive bookstore in my house, so a book cabinet. I got quite a lot of books. And when I'm working with someone and I say to them, look, I'm going to recommend a book of the month. I'm going to give you a book of the month. And I go to the bookshelf and I've got lots of books. There's always going to be 2 or 3 that are just going to jump out at me. There's always going to be 2 or 3 that are going to kind of be waving and saying, this is exactly what this person needs. And this is where strengthening your intuition is very important. When you're connected, you can go to a bookshelf, you can go to an online store, and you can just type in the question you're asking. Remember, a book is there to answer a question. And so if you're feeling a lack of confidence, so just write best book for building confidence.
Okay.
And then just look at the range and then see which one jumps out at you.
But that is so interesting because you're saying it kind of jumps out of you and you use your intuition. And so again, it comes back to trusting yourself. But what if they don't trust themselves? But anyway, so just let's say there's 3 books and you just go, well, I don't know. Well, if you did know which one, well, I guess this one. And you just trust that is the one, and not second guess yourself every single time.
Yeah. And you see, and so that word that creeps in, it's called doubt. Okay. It's actually been spread around by someone called SID, SID, self-inflicting doubt. That doubt is a big success killer. Now, if you look at the word doubt, and if you're listening to this recording, write the word doubt. Okay. Write it down. DOUBT, doubt.
Yes.
Right? So you have the word doubt in front of you right now. Okay.
I got it. Yeah.
Now the answer to overcoming doubt is in the doubt itself. Just cross out the last 3 letters.
Okay. So off goes the T, the B, and the U. Okay.
And you're left with
do.
Yes.
Do.
And so the secret is just to be doing. Now, I don't believe there is such a thing as a bad book. Okay? I don't believe there's necessarily a bad book. If you're asking a question, how do I strengthen my belief? And you type in best book on strengthening my beliefs. Mm-hmm. You're going to get 10, 20, 30, 50, 100 books pop up. I don't really believe that if you look at that list of 20, 50 books and you look at 3 or 5 of them, you're going to choose a bad one. Nobody wakes up in the morning and says, I am going to make today the worst day of my life.
Okay. So there's always a golden nugget that you can get anyway.
Yeah, of course.
I love it.
If you're open.
If you're open. Okay. And so what's step number 3? I'm dying to know now. So move your body, learning, and number 3.
Number 3, which I find very critical, is very simply, tell me who your friends are, and I'll tell you who you are. What does that mean? Environment. If you hang around 9 drug addicts, 9 drug dealers, 9 alcoholics, chances are you will become number
10.
And so environment is so powerful. So look around your environment. Look at the people you interact with. Look at the people you talk with. Look at the people you call with. Look at the people you WhatsApp with. Look at the people you surround yourself with. And ask yourself, are these the people I want to become? Do they have values or qualities that I like and that are going to help me grow as a person and become more?
But will they accept me? But I am nothing. I am nobody. These are amazing people.
Yeah. And I get that. That's where we come back to self-confidence, self-belief, and so all of these things live together. And I believe, and that's why, environment is so powerful. And so surround yourself with people. And what I actually find is when I say surround yourself with good people, there's going to be 2 levels of positive people. They're going to be the people up there that, like you said, they're not going to want to be around you because they're so ahead of you. They're so advanced on where you're at. Maybe wealthier, happier, whatever it is. Okay, so they're way out there. But how about spending time with someone who might only be 1 or 2 years ahead of you? And that's why we say always make sure you have role models. Have the role model that is 5, 10, 15 years ahead of you, but also have the role model that you can catch that is just 1 or 2 years ahead of you.
Ooh, nice. I've not heard that before. That's just the next kind of milestone, and then get to there, and then
exactly,
even catch even.
Exactly.
That'll make you feel good about yourself.
Exactly, and so
and by the way, none of this, I'm assuming, none of this self-belief has any power unless you come back to crossing out the T, the B, and the U, and go to the do. In other words, action. Action is the key.
Absolutely. In my book, I actually say the greatest treasures on planet Earth are reserved for the action takers. Mm. And the name of the game is action.
Yeah, that's the name of the game. And that's the book is Rebel Entrepreneur, is that right?
Yeah, that's the book, Rebel Entrepreneur, correct.
Fantastic. Okay, good. Now, I read that the majority of your success occurred around 2008. Now, that was when there was a massive financial crisis, which I'm assuming that's when most people gave up. So how come that's when you made a success? I mean, what's all that about?
So what happened to me in 2007, 2008 is I started investing in real estate.
Ah.
I started buying up property. I had exited my company. I sold the business at 27. I took the profits. I took the benefits, the money from that deal, and I started to invest into property, into real estate. And I started buying up small buildings and pieces of property. And then when the crash hit, I remembered something very powerful that I'd learned from Donald Trump. Now, without getting into politics and all that kind of stuff, but there was a lesson that I learned from Trump. If the listeners here know anything about Donald Trump's history, in the late 1980s, Donald Trump was in debt about $800-900 million. Some even said it was over $1 billion. I mean, that takes quite a bit of work to get into, $900 million of debt. But I remember reading something about Donald Trump, and during that process, when it was 1988, 89, 90, Donald Trump said to himself, if I can just get to 1994, 1995, I will be okay. And so reading this and applying that education and that mindset to that situation, I said to myself, okay, look, this is where we're at, 2008. Lehman Brothers had fell. There was an incredible crash. Travel was down. I bought quite a lot of property that I was renting out to tourists. So the serviced accommodation space took a major hit. And then what carried me...
This was bad for you.
This was bad for me, but turned out to be a blessing because I had adapted to the situation and I decided to ride the wave. And in my mind, I said, okay, I just got to get to 2011. In my mind,
I'm so glad that you knew that about Donald Trump. Otherwise, you'd be like, help, help, help. But that was like a lifeline for you.
Yeah, because
so you just thought, if I can just survive, and then, boom.
Exactly, and that forced me to become extra creative. It forced me to think out of the box. So what I did was, I said, okay, so my passive income from the businesses, from the properties had dropped. How could I generate that lifestyle? What could I do to create that, build it up again? And so I started getting creative and doing deals in the space of serviced accommodation with people who were booking agents and all that kind of stuff. And that actually increased the business, increased the cash flow. And I actually had made some really interesting contracts because of the 2008 crash. And if you think about it and you look at history, some of the greatest companies were actually born in crises. They were born in recessions. I mean, if you look at 2008, Airbnb, right, was born from 2008. Uber was born in that space as well. And so I'm excited about where we're at right now in this pandemic because a lot of exciting projects and ideas are going to be born. And I'm looking forward to look back and see what...
Well, that's interesting, right? Because people are in it right now. They're listening to you and going, oh, so actually I need to, what you said, be more creative. I need to do things a little bit different. By the way, another thing that was born in 2008 is Bitcoin. I'm going to come back to that in a moment.
Yes.
And it was because of the financial crisis. It was in direct response to that when they realized that, the few trying to control the many. And it's like, no, we need to change the system. But you're right. So people in it right now, remember back to 2008, and I dare say to any crash, 2000, 1987, whatever, now is would you say, a good time, the best time? I don't know.
If I look at history, and history tells us a lot of things, some of the most incredible success stories happened and were created during recessions, depressions, and crises. Just a short example. A lot of people know John F. Kennedy, the former president that was assassinated in America many years ago. But what a lot of people don't know is that his father, Joseph Kennedy, in 1929, just before the Depression, 1928, 1929, Joseph Kennedy was worth about $3 million. By 1935, and by the way, what happened between 1929 and 1935? It was the Great Depression.
Huge.
Huge, right? And so between that period, 1929, Joseph Kennedy worth about $3 million. By 1935, he was worth $180 million.
How did he do that?
How did he do that? Again, what glasses are you wearing? Are you wearing the glasses of, oh my goodness, it's game over, or there's opportunity?
Opportunity.
Yeah, and so I see this period as a great opportunity.
And so do you think that people in this opportunity can not just survive, but thrive?
Yeah, so I call it Sir Thrive.
Sir Thrive.
Yes, Sir Thrive.
All righty.
Yeah, you got to Sir Thrive. So you got to play both parts of the field, right? You got to play defense, but you also got to play offense.
Okay.
Sir Thrive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so the opportunities that are going to come out of this period in the next, right now, but also in the next 3, 6, 9, 12, 18 months are going to be unprecedented. Mm-hmm. And, in 2008 and 2009, I wasn't ready for the crisis. I didn't have a lot of liquid. I didn't have a lot of cash. My assets were in stones. I had property, but I wasn't liquid. And so right now I am liquid. And so I'm excited about the opportunities that are going to come out.
So how are you being creative? Can you give me some examples? Are there any businesses you started? What
So I am involved in new businesses, supporting organizations, primarily around Europe, in the UK, with PP equipment, medical equipment.
What is PPE, just in case?
So it's masks, medical masks. The masks that we've been asked to wear. We also we started to import coronavirus tests. And I've built this with an amazing group of people that I love working with. Again, winning on my own terms and conditions.
This is amazing. So if somebody, there's always these people who see this in a different way. They're going, well, you're just taking advantage of the situation, as opposed to what? I'm just adapting to the situation. I'm helping people. I mean, what would you say?
100%. A lot of people misconstrue what Darwin said. People say that Darwin said survival of the fittest.
I thought that's what he did say.
He said survival of the most adaptable.
Oh.
You see, dinosaurs.
That's what he meant, yes.
That's what he meant. See, dinosaurs were stronger than us, more powerful than us, fitter than us.
Yeah.
They could run faster and further than us, but they couldn't adapt like us. And so the people that are going to come out of this pandemic stronger, better, are the people who are going to adapt. And I want to be clear, during this pandemic, if you don't come out of this with better health or better relationships with your children or your family, if you don't come out with a new skill, a new talent, a new language, if you don't come out with something, you've misunderstood what this opportunity was.
Right, and if you're listening to this, it's not too late. Okay, it's not too late to do that. Let's give some concrete examples, because I have to do, and whatever you're serving up, I'm drinking fully out of, because you said if you're not, so for example, I've now got time to work out almost on a daily basis, and I am seeing results. Maybe nobody else is seeing results, but I am seeing results, and I feel good about it, because normally I can't travel right now. I didn't teach my kids how to ride a bike. Now I taught them how to ride a bike, right? So all of these things are happening. So I'm absolutely with you. I just want to make sure that people are listening to this and going, oh, but I've been shut up, and I've been, under the covers, making sure I don't get the coronavirus. I'm being, a little bit extreme here. Is there still time? I mean, have we missed the boat?
That's the great thing, that the pandemic has just been an extra blessing to do those things. We're locked down, we're at home, we've got more time to be centered. Just because we've got less distractions. And so this is being emphasized or magnified because of this period. But it's never too late to learn a new language. It's never too late to work out. And you mentioned working out. I'm kickboxing now 6 times a week.
But I thought people aren't allowed to get together. How are you doing that?
So I've taken a private trainer. I've rented the entire gym.
Love it.
And I'm the only person that's allowed in.
Hold on. So you are winning on your own terms.
Exactly. And so I'm paying the trainer top dollar. He's happy with it. He's well further than the 1.5, 2 meters away from me, yelling at me, screaming at me to move my ass and get fit and get strong. And so we are respecting the rules that have been put in place, but we're not breaking the law, we're bending the rules.
Nice. Nice. I love it. Okay, fantastic. So, question. As you know, I trade and invest a lot in the stock market
Yes.
and in cryptocurrencies.
Yes.
What are your thoughts about that? And I think we should be honest here a little bit and tell people that maybe I have been.
Oh,
You say it. I don't
okay.
want
So let's open this up. So first of all, I've got many blessings in my life. One of the blessings that has been tremendous for me for the last almost a decade is that I've had the privilege to surround myself with great mentors, great teachers, great educators, great thought leaders. One of the people that has really touched my life from an investment perspective and also a financial perspective, there were two people. One of them is T. Harv Eker. And through T. Harv Eker, the founder and the creator of the Millionaire Mind Intensive, I met you. And obviously you have played a major influence in the way I invest my money, use my money, and leverage my money. So looking at an investment perspective and a point of view, Arnon, what do you do with your money? Right now, I personally am all in on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Okay. I have invested what a lot of people would consider a small fortune. Maybe not so small, but small. I've put quite a lot. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of euros in the crypto space. It's just so obvious where the world is going to. And obviously you've played a major influence in that. You know, I'm Jewish, and I'm sure, you know, people figuring that out. Oh, he lived in Israel. So yes, I am Jewish. And I don't give money away or invest money that easily without doing my due diligence.
Actually, you've been very smart in the way you've been doing it. And are you profitable?
Absolutely. So I've been investing and investing and investing. Right now, my portfolio is up almost 20%.
Mm-hmm. Is that good?
Maybe it's just over 20% right now. It's around 20%.
I mean, on large amounts of money, that is good.
It's fantastic. Where would I get that kind of return?
Is that in a year? What is that?
Yeah. So 20% right now is standing. You know what? I would say it's probably about a year, because I'm constantly investing, but I'm not talking about over a 5-year period or a 6-year period. And so I would say it's about around a 12-month period. My entire portfolio, which is quite expansive and excessive, is up 20%. Fantastic. And so I'm really excited about the whole crypto space, the Bitcoin space, the digital money space. And again, I mean, who am I to give any financial advice? And this is not financial advice, but people that ask me, I'm like, if you're not in crypto right now, you've got to really do more research, because I just personally myself, I just see that's where the world is going to. And again, it's also based on your book and, you know, having access to your information. And I know you're extensive and thorough with your research and the education that you've put in learning about cryptos, and that's driven me to educate myself.
But what's really important is, though, you're not just investing just because somebody said it. You learned a strategy and you're following a strategy. So and it happens to be a kind of an advanced version, if people know this, of my value cost averaging strategy. And Arnon has just, you know, taken it, and I don't know, he's got a knack for it, you know, so he always gets in at these really good low prices, which is fantastic. And 20%, I don't know, some people might go, well, 20% in, you know, some of my students, because they're looking for 36%, you know, 72%, they might say, you know, 20%, it's okay. But when you consider it's on hundreds, I mean, not just 1 or 2 or 3, it's on hundreds of thousands of pounds, euros, dollars. 20%, that's good. That's good. And it's only going to get more.
Absolutely, 100%. So I have no doubt that that's going to go into at least triple digits, the return on investment. And I'm talking in a period of, you know, 2 to 4 years. That's what I honestly believe. Just monitoring the space, looking at what's going on in the world, where we're at, and looking at all these factors and putting them together. It's just such an, in the beginning it's hard, but now it's been such an obvious and an easy decision
Now that you
And
have that
so,
knowledge, absolutely. People need to educate themselves in this space. And I think that is so fantastic. But you're a business person. Why are you investing? Like, just do more business. Put all your eggs into one basket. Okay, that was a bit of a leading question there.
yeah. And so the reality is a lot of people know how to make money. Not a lot of people know how to grow their money. So I know how to make money, but where the financial real insights, and I benefited from obviously learning from T.L. Becker and being obviously learning from you, is I'm really learning how to grow my money. And that's something that I lacked in the past. I always knew how to make it. And
Right.
most people know how to make it.
So all this money is coming in, but it's just sitting there, which is nice.
If you've got money, in my personal opinion, sitting in a bank account right now, you don't understand money.
Yeah, because you're making 20 times more than in a bank account. More, probably.
Well, here, let's take it a step further. If I put 50,000 euros, pounds, dollars in a bank account, in 10 years from now, that 50,000 is going to turn into 30,000.
I thought you were going to say like 51,000 and laugh about it.
Yeah, it would be 50. It would be maybe 51,000
You're
because
talking of inflation.
But the buying power, inflation,
Yeah.
the buying power is going down.
Yeah.
And so that storage of value is depreciating. And that's why, if you look at Robert Kiyosaki, he's saying right now, and Robert Kiyosaki, he doesn't say things easily, but
He hates everything. Like,
he hates everything. He's hard.
Apart from gold, silver, and cryptos.
Gold, silver, cryptos.
And when he said that, I was shocked. I was happy, but I was shocked because he's against everything. You guys are all going to lose money. You're all dead, whatever. But when he said gold, silver, cryptos, I was like, cryptos? I mean, I've been saying this.
I took that video and I circulated amongst all my clients because they know me. They know where I invest my money. They trust me. But when I saw that, I said, like, listen, you guys need to hear this because Robert Kiyosaki, authored Rich Dad, Poor Dad, amazing book. And obviously I've had the privilege to share stage with him. And this guy knows about finance when it comes to money, and he knows about it. And when he came out and he said, look, the Fed are printing trillions of dollars. Paper money is trash. It's toilet paper. It's nothing. And he came out very clearly and bluntly saying, gold, silver, cryptos. I was like, I'm there. So it's just an extra confirmation.
I know, but for him, honestly, for him to say that, that is, wow. Yeah. So he's done his research now.
Absolutely. And he's a researcher, trust me.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, he knows his stuff. He's
a researcher.
So Arnon, thank you so much for your time. For anybody listening now, I'm sure they would have gotten 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 gold nuggets. I've taken loads and loads of notes here. So is there anything else that you would like to say to people who really just want more out of their lives? They want to have more, they want to be more. What should they be doing?
The only thing I would share, and by the way, I'm very grateful to again have this opportunity to share any pearls of wisdom or any golden nuggets with people. And if they leave here with at least one insight or one aha moment, then for me, I've served and I've fulfilled a purpose, and I scratched an itch. So that's really a blessing. But if I could leave here with one message, it would be something that I heard many years ago that really hit me hard, and I carry it with me wherever I go. And it was a question that was asked, and the question was, what is the best way to help the poor?
Okay.
And the answer was, the best way to help the poor is not to become one of them. And so take responsibility, step up, take action, strengthen your belief system, and surround yourself with people that are going to uplift you and empower you, and just freaking do it.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much. Listen, I would suggest that everybody just leave a comment below. What is the one thing, if you want 2 things that you learned there, just write it below, and make sure that you subscribe. Make sure that you like this. Is there a love button, or is it just like?
It's like.
It doesn't really No, I mean, if you keep hitting it, then it goes not like, not like. So there should be a love button. I took a lot away from that, a lot. And by the way, some of these things you have taught me before, but just yeah, new and that's why this is so important, because you're a different person when you hear things, even though you might have heard it from the same person before. Because this, the play to win but play on your own terms. That's a good one. That's a good one. Lots of great nuggets here. So I want to thank you. How do people get hold of you, Arnon?
You can go to my website, arnonbarnes.com.
Perfect.
Instagram, Facebook. I'm very easy to find. Arnon Barnes. I'm pretty much everywhere. Love to connect with them.
Awesome. You do. And you love to connect with people. That's your thing. So that's wonderful. And I want to thank you one more time. I hope this isn't the last time that we do this. I'd love to do this again, maybe on a different topic. But that was absolutely fantastic, because I know that you're full of these pearls of wisdom, and I want to get a few more out next time as well. So thank you so much, Arnon Barnes.
Thank you, Marcus, for having me. It's been a privilege and a pleasure.
Thank you. Wow, what an incredible interview. I mean, there were so many things in there that my suggestion for you is twofold. One, if you really want to get the most out of it and take your life to a whole nother level, is to go back and not watch it again, because often things can go in one ear and out the other, but to take a piece of paper and a pen and study it, write down what were the real kind of aha moments there for you, and then take action on them, and then maybe share them, and this is the second thing, with your family. If I were you, I would study it actually with your family, so that you can support them and they can also support you in this journey, because there were some real distinctions in there. So personally for me, the kind of the 5 steps of winning whatever game you're doing, whether it's the career game or the relationship game or the fitness game, whatever goals that you actually have, like finance, for example, the 5 stages, and you might be on different stages on every single one of them. So for example, this refusing to play the game, pretending to play the game, so interesting, playing the game not to lose, so just doing enough but not really going for it, right? And then playing the game to win, which I thought was the ultimate, until Arnon revealed just that extra little difference, which was win the game, or play the game to win rather, but on my terms. Now that little distinction, it might seem a little small distinction, but I tell you, that changes everything. And I'm going to kind of use this as a kind of a roadmap to make decisions on. I thought that was extremely powerful. And there were so many things, but what really jumps out for me was this whole idea of how to gain self-belief and more confidence and trust in yourself. Because I think that is missing in schools. I think because we used to go in and teach, people finances in schools, or children in schools. But what they really need is more belief in themselves, more self-belief, more trust in themselves, and confidence, right? And so what I really loved about that is the steps to doing that. So just in summary, and in no particular order, and I love this, was first of all, move your body. And that's why in schools specifically, you can always tell somebody who's done a lot of sport. You can always tell, because they have a certain amount of confidence around them, okay? So if that's the case for you and you need more confidence, and by the way, we all need more confidence. Okay, so just look in financial terms. Let's say, you're a millionaire, but you want to go to a multi-millionaire. You're going to need to raise your confidence in order to do that. If you're a multi-millionaire and want to get a billionaire, you need to raise your confidence and self-belief in yourself and your capabilities and skills in order to be able to do that, wherever you are. Again, this could be in sports, as fitness, it could be in relationships, money, etc. So honestly, moving your body, and I just thought that was a great distinction. So going out for walks or runs or getting a coach and doing training, etc. Absolutely fantastic. And again, in no particular order, the second thing was studying. Learning more, growing more, making distinctions and acting on those, no matter how small they might be. And that has a compound growth over time, I thought was absolutely fantastic, which, by the way, you are doing by watching this video. But if you go back and study it, that's the difference that most people don't do. And remember, of course, you will get the things that other people won't get if you're just willing to do the things that other people are not willing to do. And it's just simple. You don't need a PhD, doctorate. You just need to be able just to do it. And then the third thing on that, in order to get more self-belief, was your environment, who you surround yourself with. So kind of almost aggressively finding the people that you want to spend more time with, and maybe losing some that are kind of dragging you down. You know who those people are. And Tony Robbins calls that your seventh power. I'm not sure why it's your seventh power, but it's I remember the power part. And you know, because you are going to be at the level of the expectation of your peer group. That's how he calls it. And I think Arnon said something around the lines of, you know, show me your friends and I'll show you show me your friends. Well, Dan Pena says it a different way. He actually says, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. So that's kind of interesting. So if you do those three things, or even one of those things, but if you do two of them, it has a compound effect. If you do all three, it'll have a massive compound effect. Can you see how simple these concepts are? Simple to do, but also simple not to do. So make the choice right now that you're the kind of person that does it, as opposed to just kind of listens to these things, which is good. Hey, listen, if you enjoyed that, if you got any distinctions out of that and you want to get more tips, tricks, techniques, etc. like this, we're going to be interviewing a lot of amazing people coming up. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Please go ahead and do that now, so you just don't miss out on this potentially life-changing information for you and your family. Get them involved. So go ahead, please, and do hit that subscribe button, because we're going to be sending you a lot of information. And if you liked it, also give us a like. That's always much appreciated. Thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you on the next video.